Monday, March 4th, 2013. And as usual, our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next order of business is the review and approval of minutes of the January 28th, 2013 meeting.
I haven't really reviewed them, so I'm going to...
I haven't either.
Okay.
Table that to next.
Okay, we'll table that review and approval of minutes of January 28th to the next meeting. The regular item of business tonight is an application by William Pothier. We have before us a motion to continue. But for the record, it's tonight was supposed to be the continuation of the January 28, 2013 meeting for special exceptions, reference sections 1.05B1 and 2, and variances reference sections 1.05B1B and 1.05B2C of the Newmarket zoning ordinance. The applicant requests the special exceptions and variances to permit the expansion and raising of an accessory building, which is a non-conforming structure by 5 feet to prevent flooding from high tides and rising water levels. The lot is located at 8 Bay Road, Tax Map U2, Lot 356 in the R2 zone. And we've received some additional input from abutters and presumably others, but more significantly, we have before us a request for a continuance by the applicant's attorney, requesting, because he has just been retained recently, to continue the meeting to the next regular business meeting, continue the hearing on this application to the next regular business meeting so he has an opportunity to get up to speed. Is that right? And are you Attorney Hogan?
I am, thank you.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair. Good evening, members. For the record, my name is Scott Hogan. I'm a land use attorney from Lee, New Hampshire. And as the board the chair just described, I have just recently been asked by Mr. Pothier to help him present these applications to the board. I was in last week. I was hoping to speak to Diane. I know she was away. Diane Hardy was away last week. So all I've gotten to do so far is take a quick look at the file. I've looked at the property itself, and I do believe there's likely going to be another variance application that's going to be submitted to the board that I think makes sense to hear simultaneously with the ones that are already before you, because as I looked at the record and spoke to Mr. Pothier, it was obvious that part of his intent in doing the improvements to these buildings was that they would be that it would be a residential use. From what I've seen, he has not asked this board for any zoning relief to allow residential use of the building. So I think that should be something that is applied for and presented to the board at the same time as the current applications. I'm also looking, and I spoke to Susan Jordan last week briefly. The residential use is something obviously that hasn't been brought to the board. I'm looking at, and I just frankly, candidly tonight don't know enough yet to have made a determination about this, but it seems there is a possibility that Mr. Pothier could also request an equitable waiver of dimensional requirements, and frankly, I don't know enough yet to know if he can or can't, if the facts qualify him to do that or not. So that's just another issue that I'm looking into in the meantime. And even with the variance application that he has before the board, I especially on no diminution of neighboring property values, etc., I always at least like to go to a local realtor, get an opinion letter to get a little evidence that we can submit to meet our burden on that issue. So that's something that I'm also pursuing. I'd like to talk to the contractor. I'd like to talk to Mr. Hardy or to Mr. Pothier a little bit more. So for all of those reasons, I think within a month's time we'll have a much more rounded application and perhaps a new application before the board to consider all at the same time.
Okay, thank you. My personal inclination is that if there's going to be additional variances and things applied for, then we should do this all at once rather than do it piecemeal.
I agree.
And the only thing I would say, we said I think I said to Mr. Pothier, I'm sure I said to Mr. Pothier at the last meeting, and I ask you, Attorney Hogan, to pass on to him again, that any further work he undertakes at this point is at his own risk. And I just want to make sure that's clear to everybody concerned.
Understood, thank you.
And having that in mind, how does April 7th work?
That's fine with me.
I don't have anything scheduled, so
I think Bill,
April 7th?
yeah,
No, April 8th.
I have Monday as being the 7th. Actually, no, you're right. Monday is the 8th. The Monday is the 8th.
Unless we have it on April Fool's Day, which is probably not a smart thing to do.
No. I'm not sure. When is the election? And the organizational meeting is the first Monday after the election, right? So this room wouldn't be available. Why don't we just shoot for April 8th? Bill, I think, is not available till after the 19th, after the 18th. And then there's been a couple of applications for new members, so hopefully we'll have a full complement
Good.
by then. So I'll entertain a motion to
I'll make a motion that we postpone, continue this meeting on April 8th at 7 o'clock.
I second it.
further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Is there any further new or old business to come before the ZBA at this time?
I have none.
No, I have not.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn is made.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.